Hey everybody, Barry here again. It has been a week. It's been a week or so since I blew up the rear end in the truck and lost a tire and an axle, and there was a lot going on. So if you haven't seen that video, go back and check it out. If I think about it, I'll put a description in the link. It's been a long week. Anyway, so I don't have the truck ready yet. I don't have a diff yet. I took the rear end out of a Jeep Liberty just like this, and it's out back. But I've got a lot of work to do on this one. This is my boss's Jeep, and got to put a fuel pump in it, and struts and shocks and all kinds of fun stuff with that. And it's on a lift right now, so I can't work on a rat rod. But I do have to do work on this. This is my 1987 Suzuki Savage or GS650? LS650, because my other Suzuki is a GS. Anyway, so this is a big single, and what I've got to do on it today is not that, but that did happen also, is, where's the key on this anyway? Right there. Is this. Yeah, that's supposed to start. I know I'm supposed to have the clutch pulled in, but somebody bypassed it. But anyway, the solenoid is cooked. So that happened yesterday, and I got to work today on it because I push started it down my driveway, and it is very difficult to push start a single 650cc. Very difficult, especially with a light bike. You really got to put your weight into it and hit the starter button and pull it. Man, it's a lot. So I'll show you how I got it running this evening. So what I did was took a piece of ready rod. Now this is just threaded rod. It doesn't really matter what you use, I guess, but something heavy, and that's why I use this. So I turn the key on, and we'll try again just because, obviously, clutch in, we've got nothing. And I said, oh no, my starter's cooked. So then I was like, I wonder if my starter's actually cooked. So before we start, don't try this at home, because somebody's going to do it in gear and slam into the car, and then they're going to blame me. So just don't, okay? Or at least don't blame me. I don't care what you do. Okay, so put this on the starter, and now it's not going to be the right length for me to do it. Let's go right there. Works every time. So what I did there basically is bypassed the starter solenoid, and I bypassed the start button. If the start button is failed, it won't start. If the solenoid under the seat is failed, it won't start. So I put this to make a connection between my positive battery cable and the starter solenoid wire down here. So now I'm going to pull the seat off, and then we'll test the solenoid, and then we'll test the starter switch, and I'll show how to do that. I got the seat off. I should have never looked at it, because my God, what a state. I only just bought this. And also, I took the belt guard off, and it's a good thing I did, because I noticed that yeah, that's not supposed to be like that down there either. You can't see it right now. You can't really see it that well, but yeah, there are bare wires right there. So I'm going to take that off and clean those up also. It's going to be kind of hard to get at, but I'm going to tuck them back here out of the way with some heat shrink on them. And I've got to figure out if it's the starter button right here or the solenoid, which is I don't know where actually. It might be this one right here, but I can't really say for sure. And I don't think it's my ignition switch. I think that's just fine. And obviously the battery is good. But yeah, I'm going to take all this apart and inspect that wiring. There is so much tape. So much tape. I don't know what to do with it all. And oh good, there's things that are unplugged also. Sweet. So also there's ones here that are unplugged that I think are for the tail lights that were not hooked up or on it. And also I hit a bump and beat the tail light out of that. This bike's very low. So it had some prior modification done. Somebody bobbed it out, which is cool. I'm gonna cut the handlebars up on it. But before I do, I wanna make sure that it runs correctly. I don't think I drove it before I cut the exhaust off, because I can't leave anything alone. And I've got this thing where I just do not like mufflers. I hate them. it was like, I can't have that. So I cut it off and now it's like, bop, 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 bop. I'm like, well, that's a lot better. There is so much electrical tape. Wow, man. Is there a need? I don't know. There's no fender on the bike, so probably wouldn't hurt just to have it weatherproofed a little bit. So this is definitely the starter solenoid. Is it working? Is it broken? That I don't know yet. I gotta get the rest of this tape off. Man, this is ungodly. It's a good thing the seat's covered and you can't see it. I'm gonna calm this down, and I might tape some of it up again, but I don't think there's any need of that. And instead of just taping this and waiting for it to ground out on the frame, I think I'll mount it also. Because not everything should be just jiggling around with vibration, and it's not going to work very well if something loses connection. I was kind of hoping I'd find one of these connectors loose, but I don't think I was that lucky. Oh look, there's more. Ooh, more tape. Always more tape. Okay, I'm just going to sprawl this out. Oh look, a connector that's unconnected. I don't think it has anything to do with my starter, but I am going to try it to see. I am going to try it. Horn works. Huh. Okay, I'm going to disconnect it and try it now. Okay, we have nothing. I'm going to try to connect it again. We're doing okay so far. Let's get a closer look at this thing. So this connection right here with a braided line for whatever reason, and then a yellow with a black tracer and a black with a white tracer. This connection here, we can see that the clip is actually broken, so you can just unplug it. The lock is broken. So it seems that this has something to do with the starter. So I'm actually going to cut that connection out. And, oh yeah, we can actually see, look, that is connected right to that one. So that's wonderful. What a perfect thing to find there, instead of having to replace all this. So I'm going to cut this out completely, and I'll join solder and heat shrink these wires up. All this black tape did nothing. It did not help. Stop using black tape to band-aid things, except for your fingers. Like if you cut your finger, just wrap a piece of paper towel around it and then electrical tape. That's basically like doctor approved, or at least mad scientist approved. I've got all that tape removed, or at least 90% of it, whatever I can get removed anyway. So this main harness here that's all chafed up comes up here and plugs into the yellow and, orange and green, or peach and green or something. And then we've got this all other main one right here that comes up around next to the solenoid and comes down here and is connected to the regulator. And I think these three yellow wires, if they're the same as Honda, go to the alternator or generator. I don't know what you call it on this. Whatever charges the battery anyway. So I'm gonna disconnect this, not one-handed because it's very difficult, much better. And I'm gonna see if I can unpin these. I'm not sure if I am able to or not. I can't really tell if they're able to be unpinned, but if I can, I'll unpin them and pull this big casing off, and then I'll run heat shrink down there. I think I can get it down further in under the bike so that I can actually work on it sensibly. Tried to get off this little connector, or these pins, and I have no idea where I put my pick, but I cannot get these connectors out. I do have it routed down around the engine where I can work on it sensibly, so I can see here that, you know, this one is all bare wires. And excuse my hands, they are quite dirty. But sometimes you get dirty working on stuff. And this one here also is bared out. So it looks like there's only 3 wires that I actually have to repair. So that's just fine. I'll just cut them, splice them, and solder and heat shrink. I didn't really want to do that, but sometimes, yeah, plans change. Well, gonna have to get over it now, I guess. Ah, that kills me. Okay, and I'm sure I don't have to strip that much of the wire, but. And the heat shrink that I'm using here, for anybody who's interested, is 41016 from CarQuest, and it is 1/4 inch, but it shrinks down 4:1, so it's going to be 4 times smaller than that. And also it's double layered with glue in it, so that as it's melting, or as you're heating it up, it melts the glue and protects and seals your wire. So I'm just gonna put this together. I don't really like how it does that. I'm such a wimp. Okay, can you see? So I'll be at the truck again hopefully next week. We're taking a week off work and stuff, so I just want to get this video out before we leave, and that way we keep all the videos consistent. And then as soon as I get back, I'll be at the truck and get that back on the move so I can go do hood rat stuff with my friends. And we'll see that when this heats up, you'll see the glue come out. Ah, it's hot too. So you can see that the glue protrudes out past, and you can see that it's just like hot glue that you would use for crafting and stuff. And that is completely sealed now. Plus it's soldered, so it's protected and it's got a good connection. So I'm gonna do the second one. Yeah, there's 3. I'm just gonna cut it right in the middle of where it was chafed. I know this motorcycle stuff is different than what I normally do, but hey, it's working on stuff and fixing stuff, solving problems, which is pretty much all I do. I said I was going to do a lot of stuff this summer, like a lot of driving and stuff, and I have done a bit, but usually, for me, a lot of it is fixing things that I've broken due to negligence or just bad luck. But either way, it's always something to do. I'm never usually bored. So we're just gonna solder this one up. Oh, I'm low on solder. Nice. This little torch is amazing too. So much faster than waiting for a pencil to heat up. And it basically instantly cools down when you shut it off. And everybody has different types that they like to use, but oh no! Oh, I knew I was gonna mess something up. Oh no. Now I've got to cut more out. I probably could have actually just melted the solder off, but my old boss always said that I can't talk and work at the same time. I'd love to put a turbo on this bike. It's so simple. It's a single cylinder, single carburetor. Just put a turbo on it and go make spoolie noises. I don't even care if it makes any boost. I think it will be hilarious. I didn't forget the heat shrink this time, and I was talking. I think it would be hilarious to put a turbo on it. It would probably go lean really quick. But then that would probably just make me want to put fuel injection in it, and it would snowball completely out of control. But that's pretty much how I do everything anyway. I also need to get back at the van, because Cass is on my case about that, and many of the YouTube people are on my case about that. So I really need to get back at that, put a fuel tank in it, and that's hot, and fix up a few things. I'm going to take the turbo off, I think, mainly because the turbo on it is cooked, which is kind of too bad because it was a great turbo, but that's it. Sometimes plans change. I think I've said that twice now. Okay, so that's not ideal, but it will work, and I can put some loom on it and it'll look cool. Okay, seriously, everything that I just said about electrical tape, I have to use electrical tape. Mainly because I just want to protect and hold these wires together in the right situation. It is good to use electrical tape. I wouldn't just twist your wires together and black tape it like I've seen. I've had harnesses that, I've had LS harnesses that when you take them apart, there's like morettes in them and more electrical tape, but this looks much better. And now it's protected. It's sealed and protected there from the heat shrink, and this isn't going to rub on anything. I'm going to route it differently so it comes behind the battery box. And yeah, man, that's okay. It's not terrible. I'm actually also going to put dielectric grease in all this. I have a plan. I can see that this one has 2 bolt holes right there, and there's a spot on the frame right there. Might be easier to see it back. Right there, where it seems like this may have bolted on at one point. So that seems to be the right thing to do there. I don't have any bolts or anything long enough to put in here, so I'm going to zip tie it on. But I am going to put some dielectric grease on the back of this to stop it from corroding. As you can see, it already has begun, because I don't want to replace whatever that thing is. And then I'll also zip tie some of this stuff here together. And to tighten the zip ties, I'm going to use this, my zip tie gun. I posted a video on Facebook Reels, I think, yeah, and YouTube Shorts, so Reels anyway. And it got 2 million views at the time of recording this, of me going zip, 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 and showing people how to use a zip tie gun. Because I never heard of one before a guy gave me it, so I was like, maybe somebody else would enjoy this. Hundreds of people commented and argued back and forth that this was either amazing or junk. So it seems like the NPCs were arguing with actual tech people or mechanics or whoever would use these in their trade. And it was quite entertaining to be a part of. So I trolled a couple people and it was a good time. Well, my phone's dying, so I'm trying to get as much video as I can and then go put it on charge. So it's kind of choppy, but I'll do what I can. So I've actually found out that I do have bolts long enough. They were quarter bolts. I thought it was much smaller. So I got them on the back. They're double nutted. And that's secured there very nicely. I also, if I can come around this way, bolted on the starter solenoid and this CDI thing. This is still a horrid mess, but I'm just gonna zip tie the life out of it so that it doesn't go anywhere. And also it's got these little tab things here that I can just kind of jam some of that wiring in. The seat is going to be on it, so you're not really going to see it, but it's not really the point of seeing it. It's the point of me knowing it's there. So I'm going to zip tie all that up. But, yeah, everything's there. I've got to do something with this tail light because that's a little bit illegal, probably, if I had to check the rules. And I've got to protect all this, so I got to put it inside there so it doesn't go rubbing off the tire. But I'm really happy with the progress I'm getting done tonight. But really, I haven't really talked very much about the trip to St. John's. And I had no video from the car show, which I do regret not getting video, but it was nice to go to the car show and walk around, and it was super busy. Like, there was 300 cars, and Ryan Reed from Reedinson Media got a really nice video, and he got a couple small segments with the truck there and stuff. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, we actually had a really nice time. It was great. And why do these zip ties suck today? As much as it wasn't good because, you know, the truck broke and all, we actually had a great time. And I wasn't upset at all, actually, that the truck broke. I knew it was coming. Something was going to happen. So it wasn't even a huge deal. I didn't mind at all. It's not something that you want to happen, like to break down 4 hours from home with no apparent way of getting home. But our buddy Josh came and got us, which was a massive save. And we got the truck home. It was a 3-day ordeal anyway, going to the car show, driving out there, breaking the truck, getting home, going back to get the truck. It was a lot, but we had a great time. And something else that I never actually mentioned in the video, which is funny that I didn't. The day we got into St. John's, we got to the campground and we were hungry and it was like 10 o'clock. So we drove into St. John's and got some poutine or whatever for supper. And on the way back to the campground at 1 o'clock in the morning, the turbo drain melted on the manifold and melted a big hole in it and buried everything in oil. Buried the whole manifold in oil, and it was smoking out. It smoked out the whole truck, and I stopped. And when I took the hood off, it just bellowed smoke all over the highway. And it was dark, and I had one pair of pliers that Dean Cooper gave me that day to get the truck to the... He handed me a pair of pliers. He's like, here man, you might need this. And I did. So I ended up having to cut a piece out of my catch can hose and made a new drain on the side of the highway with nothing but a pair of pliers. So that was... These things happen sometimes, apparently. We don't like when they happen, but you gotta be prepared for anything when you're driving a 70-year-old truck that's been largely untested this year. That amount of distance with basically no testing. So it's one of them things that you just gotta know what's gonna happen. I'm just putting an abundance of zip ties on this so that nothing falls out of place and gets hit by a tire or the belt, like right there. Mint. Alright, so that's all tied out of the way. That's down here. Need to do something. I'll at least put a bulb in it. That'll be something. That'll be good. Let's make sure this still works. Yep, we're good. We are good. Sweet. I love it. I still gotta figure out how this whole thing works. There's a lot of weird stuff that goes from the brakes down into the engine, and I don't know, it's weird. I also need to cut my handlebars off because I don't like them. The handlebars are shaped sort of like a V, and my hands are in like this, and when I try to hold my hands straight, they're arched, and like, I know I'm a wimp, but it's annoying. Also, I need to make my license plate better. But this will do for now. All right, taillight bulb. So the glass is broken. I wouldn't suggest sticking your fingers in there. And I think it's an 1157, but I can't say for sure. Got a bulb. And you can see here that we have an alignment tab at the bottom, an alignment tab up a little bit further right here, and they are perpendicular to the contacts. And you can see that it's the same on this one. Sometimes they're located differently or the pin heights are different. But in this case, it'll work just fine. So, make sure any of this is still good. Okay, that works. And I still don't have the brake light. Oh, look, I do! Sick! So my back brake lights work. That's great. I didn't actually have that before. I actually have a brake light. That's mint. I don't even think my old Shadow had that. So I guess one of the only things left to do now is bolt the seat on, which is actually really easy to put on. Just looking under the little tab thing here. I wish I didn't break my tail light, but Newfoundland roads are not very forgiving. And I found quite a pothole. Please don't fall over. Cass will be rotted if I knock over another bike. Twice I've dropped Cass's bike. The first time I broke off the clutch lever. The other time I broke off the brake lever. So I ended up using my bike for a parts bike for hers. I'm not very good at this. Well, it doesn't look like complete garbage. I don't think it's too bad at all. I like it. I love motorcycles. This thing is so cool. And I do like how it's a single seat with no fender on it. At some point also I may have to modify the frame because the seat, as you can see, is tipped up. Like it's dished really high in the back and the front is low. And my tailbone sits about right here. And it feels like it's pushing this way on me. My back, my legs get numb, everything from my waist down is numb after like a 10-minute drive, which I'm not really into. So I may have to chop the frame up a little bit. I don't know yet, but I'm gonna try to see if I can lower the back of the seat or even raise the front. I gotta do something. Maybe I'll get a different seat because that's just very uncomfortable. But all in all, the bike runs and drives great. Well, I got an absolute state here from working on this thing and Craig's Jeep, so I'm gonna go clean that up and go home and eat some hot dogs. Yeah, breakfast of champions. Except it's like 7:30 in the evening. Who cares? Anyway, so I'm all done here for today. And hopefully enjoyed a little bit of different stuff, like motorcycle stuff. Hopefully I might get a driving video or something on it like that. I've got to figure out how to make my mic or my thing on the phone not pick up as much wind noise because it's awful and I really don't like it. So if you got any suggestions on how to do that, I know like a Bluetooth, like a lapel mic or something would be good. I still am planning on ordering one of those. I'm not very good at, I'm kind of a procrastinator. I'm like, I'll order it next week. Next week never comes, does it? So I'm all done here. Thanks for checking out the channel. Thanks for checking out the channel. Thanks to all the YouTube members and patrons. If you want to check out my Patreon, it's patreon.com/stationroadratrods. And my YouTube members link is down here. And also check out my spring store for merch. And I think actually I should have the merch shelf thing by now. So that'd be pretty sweet. And thanks for watching. Have a great day, everybody.